Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another FinTech Nexus webinar. My name is Peter Renton, Chairman and co-founder of FinTech Nexus. And today we're talking about a very important topic, digital transformation in insurance payments. Many insurance payments are still being made with manual processes. People receive a paper check in the mail. That's just not good enough in 2024. Consumers and small business owners demand and expect better than a paper check in the mail, and that's what we're going to dig into now. You may have seen the recent news between with Visa and Dwolla. Visa bringing their open banking solutions to the US, partnering with Dwolla on Pay by Bank, and we're going to be delving into how this can really help transform the insurance industry when it comes to payouts. Now, with that, I would like to introduce our panelists. I'm going to stop sharing that. Gina, why don't you go first? Do a quick introduction.
Sure. Thank you so much, Peter. Hi, everyone. My name is Gina Creek. I'm a Senior Director of Business Development here at Visa, focused on our US market entry for Visa Open Banking Solutions.
Jake?
Thanks, Peter. I'm Jake Jamison. I'm the Director of Relationship Management at Dwolla, working directly with our existing customers on how they can leverage our solutions in tandem with this really exciting new integration with Visa, as well as consulting on different use cases that they can leverage under our platform. So very excited to be here today.
Okay, great to have you both. So let's start off. Maybe we'll start off with you, Gina, and just talk about the announcement last week, or last week, when was it? It was recently, earlier this month, shall we say?
Yes.
Tell us about what happened.
Well, so I may actually take you back a little bit further to start, Peter. So, back in March of 2022, Visa acquired a company called Tink out of Europe.
Yep.
And so that's really the beginning of this story. So for the last 2 years since that acquisition, we've been doing a few things. I would say number one is working with Tink to expand their market offerings across Europe, where they started. But then, more importantly, and what gets us to where we are here today, is we've been working. There's been a group of us that have been working for the last year plus to lay a foundation to make this US market entry with Tink's products under the name Visa Open Banking Solutions. And the exciting thing is, we just recently, so last month, announced that launch on our earnings call. Our CEO, Ryan McInerney, unveiled Visa Open Banking Solutions to the US. The exciting thing about that is we're already connected to 95% of consumer bank accounts in the US.
Right.
And that is what enables us to be here talking about the great partnership that we formed with Dwolla. So I'll hand it over to Jake to speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thanks, Gina. You laid it out really well. Visa has launched a best-in-class set of features that are also complemented by the Visa brand, which is well-known and trusted. And we feel that that's a key component to just the overall open banking landscape. So we're really excited about the partnership. Open banking, I feel, has always been a key component to what we do when it comes to moving money bank to bank and account to account. And that allows this partnership to be very natural and applicable to so many use cases, so many industries, so many businesses, especially ones that are looking to digitally transform any existing processes that they have.
Okay, so then maybe, Gina, let's back up and say why did why doing this now? Why, the Tink announcement was quite a while ago, but
Yeah.
why is open banking a focus for Visa now?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question back. Are you guys big shoppers? Jake, Peter,
Isn't
do you shop
everybody?
often?
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, you might not be able to tell, but I am a huge shopper. And I find that, when I'm transacting either at the physical point of sale or the digital point of sale, that today there are just so many options.
Yes, there
I'm
are.
a Visa employee, I have been for over 6 years. So I always default to paying with my card. But I'm noticing that there's all of these options available at the point of sale now. And Visa's mission has always been to be the best way to pay and be paid. And really, we want to support consumers to pay however they want to pay. So enabling that consumer choice, whether it's a card or paying from their bank account. We actually already know that about 90% of consumers are already linking their accounts to some kind of third party today and making payments with that bank account. So, to the extent that that is a consumer's choice, we want to support that. So, the acquisition of Tink and bringing these products to the US and giving consumers that choice was really just a logical extension of our network.
Okay, so then, Jake, I mean, obviously, Visa, massive international company, as Gina said, 95% of consumer bank accounts. But why did Dwolla, why did you pre-integrate with Visa for this product?
Yeah, so maybe taking a step back from it, we've been in payments for a number of years, and we've always found that open banking tools are a critical component to customers having success. Not only getting customers to adopt pay by bank options, but also to help reduce some of the inherent risks that come with pay by bank, and the different rails that are leveraged for it. I like to think of open banking as sort of this pyramid where there's 3 points to it. There's the banks, there's the data aggregators and data providers like Visa, and then there's the account-to-account money movers like Dwolla, who are helping move money between the banks using that data that the open banking providers are giving to us and to the businesses that leverage us. So again, these tools can be used to reduce risk with payments. They can be used for that data that informs the amount of a payment or the timing of a payment. So really, it just feels like these two things are very intertwined. And as we've worked with many companies across many verticals, we've found that it's nice to have that one-stop shop, one platform that can help do the payment part of the pyramid, but also do the data aggregation and collect that data and provide visibility to it. So we like to call this a unified payment experience, best of breed on account-to-account payments and open banking, all under one solution.
Right.
And thus, a business can kind of speed up their time to market, reduce the complexity of doing separate integrations and bifurcating those two things.
Right. So then why did you focus on insurance as sort of your market entry point for this new partnership?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the insurance industry has been around for a long time. I think everybody on this call carries at least one policy, probably multiple. And, we all make payments. We pay our premiums, hopefully not often, but sometimes we'll all receive a claim payout. So it's an industry that needs payments. And it's a very large market. There's over $1 trillion in claim payouts and premium payments each year, and that's growing. And in our research, we've seen, both in our external research and talking to customers in the space, that outdated payment methods and processes are still really prevalent. People are still getting paper checks in the mail for their claim payouts, and that's not always a great experience for the policyholder, who might need to get that money as fast as they can. But it's also tough for those insurance carriers to reconcile and to keep track of those payments and make sure that those get delivered in the mail and that they actually get cashed. So there's all these factors that go into this need for digital transformation. I think another big piece to it too is that it's a very competitive industry. You turn on the TV and you'll see an insurance commercial within 30 seconds. Yes. And then right after that, another insurance commercial. So there's all these options, and it's never been easier for somebody to switch their policy from one carrier to another and kind of shop their options. So it's becoming critical for carriers to create really solid digital experiences for their policyholders, and ensure that they can retain that business.
Right.
And I think payments are a big piece of that. I mentioned the check instance as one thing, but even when carriers are using their bank to make payments, often they have multiple banks behind the scenes, and that means multiple bank integrations and multiple payments integrations that then they have to then go back and tie all of those to an open banking solution. Right. So a lot of factors that go into that, but we identified that digital transformation need pretty easily.
Okay. So then can you explain how it works? Like what, particularly say from an insurance company's perspective, how's this going to be implemented?
Yeah, so here's the good news for an insurance carrier who might want to leverage something like this. It's very straightforward and still configurable and flexible enough to help meet customer-facing demands and those internal requirements. I always feel that when you look at a payment solution, you have to think of both what's my experience as the company making or receiving the payment, and then what's the experience for the person or business that I'm sending or receiving the payment to or from. And our system, tied in with Visa's open banking solution, creates both that a great end user experience, but also helps internal processes and reconciliation be smoothed out and automated. So when we think of the claim example, a carrier might already have a setup that allows the policyholder to submit for a claim and get approved for one. But when it's time to designate to be paid, a lot of the time they don't even have an option. It's what's your address? We're going to send you a check in the mail, or enter your routing account number that you have to go find a check, or most people don't know their routing account number off the top of their head. So it requires some of these extra little things, but that add up to big things, kind of manual steps for the policyholder. So with our experience using that Visa open banking integration, that flow can be leveraged to, in seconds, help somebody link their bank account to receive a payment via ACH, same day ACH, RTP, any of those methods and modalities that we offer, all again under one integration. And we like to say that technologists will love the integration because it's, again, very straightforward and well documented, easy to implement. But the business users will love it too because it configures to their branding, their internal reconciliation processes, and keeping traceability of funds. And then the last thing I'll say about that is I mentioned it as like a claim payout, link your bank account, receive the payment really fast. It can also be used to collect premiums, and it's the same system doing both versus having multiple systems for all of these different payment requirements that the carrier might have.
Interesting. So then what is the benefit of this new collaboration that you've got with Visa? What's the benefit for Dwolla's existing clients?
Yeah, so I'll touch on it, and then I'd love to hear Gina's answer on this too, or to add color to this. But something we hear a lot from our customers is that when it comes time to link a bank account for a payment, an account-to-account payment to be made, there can be user drop-off, especially if there's not a choice between can I link my account instantly using an open banking tool or provide my routing and account number. Generally speaking, if there's not trust there or somebody has to go and find a piece of information in order to link that bank account, drop-off can occur. And that user might opt for different payment methods that are maybe more costly or integrated differently for that carrier. So we love that Visa brand. That Visa brand carries a lot of weight. Everybody recognizes it. Yep. Everybody trusts it. When I link my bank account using Visa, even though I'm going through that auth method of providing my username and password through the bank that I use, I know that Visa is powering the solution and that my information is being stored securely. So for a business, the benefit is it can really prevent that user drop off at that point. And it helps to retain those customers that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, couldn't agree more, Jake. And I think from our early conversations with partners across the Visa ecosystem, we hear the exact same thing, that the moment where someone is asking for your most sensitive credentials to get into your bank account, people do take a second and they go, okay, should I do this? And of course, a lot of them do proceed, but that is the number one moment of drop off. And, we have high conviction that, showing consumers the Visa brand in that moment, a brand that we've been working hard for the last 60 years to associate with security and trust in payments. We hope that that's going to get them over that hurdle of feeling like they are comfortable enough to link that bank account. So we're super excited to have this Visa branded solution out in the US market, especially through partners like Dwolla.
Right. And Jake, you touched on sort of the implementation piece, and what's sort of the, what's involved to get this up and running, particularly from a time frame perspective? Can you maybe give us a little bit more detail there?
Yeah. So if we're taking the insurance example, or really any business that's looking to create a pay by bank solution or move money account to account, there's usually a build versus buy decision, because your bank is powering a lot of the account to account solutions you have. And most banks, if they don't offer an API, they don't offer one that's very technology forward. It's kind of secondary to the value and services that most banks bring to their customers. So, and that further exacerbates itself when a business has like 5 or 6 bank partners that they leverage behind the scenes to have redundancy. You're gonna have 5 or 6 different payment integrations and solutions to have to tie together. So instead of having 5 or 6, payment solutions through the banks plus one with an open banking provider, we're providing a single API, a single platform where you can tie it all together, regardless of the bank that you use. It's bank agnostic in that way, while also getting that open banking piece tied into the same solution. So it's not even having 2 providers, it's actually having one, but it's powered by, again, Visa, their great product and their branding behind that. So the nice thing is that it keeps that payment, if we're thinking about that pyramid again, the payment piece and the open banking piece really close. Instead of having to have 2 integrations, tie them together, build your logic around how you use them both, how you use that open banking tool to power a payment decision. You can do it all through one system and interact with the same APIs. Like I said before, developers love the platform because it's very simple to integrate, well documented, but again, it creates all those efficiencies that the business users really like to, you don't have to worry about, one platform, one agreement. And that really helps speed up time to market too. You're interacting with one team as you integrate the solution versus having to, tie together a bunch of different systems.
Right. Okay. I want to close with looking towards the future, and maybe Gina, we can start with you. What's your vision now for the future of payments? Big question.
Yeah, big question. And unfortunately, my crystal ball isn't working. But, we think about this a lot at Visa. And actually, we had we call it our Visa Payments Forum last week. And there were actually a bunch of announcements that came out of that about how we think about the future of payments, the evolution of the card. Pay by Bank was mentioned in that as this kind of new frontier, at least for Visa. And I think when I think about the future, I think about expanding the partnership, like what we have with Dwolla, to reach more merchants. So I know we're talking about insurance here, but like sky's the limit, in my opinion. Anybody who wants a pay by bank solution from 2 trusted brands should talk to us about that. And the other thing I think will be really impactful, I know we talked about that acquisition of Tink from Europe. They have a lot of great products that they make available to clients today, that we haven't brought to the US yet. We're starting with a few key foundational products, but I think in terms of this partnership between Visa and Dwolla, we can bring more of those products to our US clients and partners.
Okay. Jake, same question for you. Vision for the future of payments.
All payments will be instant and super cheap. And no, I'm kidding. I think, it's obviously a growing thing, but if you go to any conference, if you look at a lot of the articles that are put out there, pay by bank is a hot topic, and open banking is a hot topic. When it comes to the adoption of pay by bank has existed for a long time. But it's not highly leveraged because for many reasons, but a big part of it is kind of the risk perceived with it and the limited access to the data that can help reduce that risk or kind of inform the payment decisions. So with technologies like what Visa is offering and expanding upon, offered again with a payment tied to it, we feel that there is going to be an increase in adoption, and it allows for those digital transformation decisions to be made faster and to be launched faster. Like Gina said, I totally agree. Insurance is definitely not the only vertical to target. We focus on that to kind of illustrate how this can be used together, but there are so many other applications for it and so many industries and use cases So we're excited to see that expansion. And, from the perspective of the Dwolla and Visa partnership, it'll be a thing that continues to grow in terms of the feature set. We have the basics built today. We can instantly verify an account. We can check the balance of that account. We'll soon be able to pull identity data in from that bank account. There's so many other features, as Gina mentioned, coming to the market that we're excited to integrate as well, to continue to expand how the open banking service can be used with our clients across, again, numerous use cases.
Right. We'll have to leave it there. There's a lot of momentum, it feels like to me, behind the pay by bank movement. There's been a lot of activity just really so far this year. I feel like this, people are even starting to call this, I've seen the year of pay by bank going a little bit more mainstream. So anyway, with that, Jake, Gina, thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.